Welcome to Win Your Mind, Win Your Market, the podcast where we dive deep into the mindset that drives business success. We believe that winning in business starts with winning in your mind. Every week, we bring you the biggest names in the home service space. Industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators who share their insights on how a winning mindset has shaped their journey to success. Get ready to explore the strategies, habits, and mental frameworks that can help you not only excel in your business, but dominate your market. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, this podcast is your go-to resource for mastering the mental game of business. I'm Ryan Fenn with Judd. Let's get started, because when you win your mind, you win your market. Welcome, everybody, to the Win Your Mind, Win Your Market podcast. My name is Ryan Fenn. I'm here with Judd, as always. And we have, let's just say, the most important guest we've ever had on this podcast. One of our best friends here at Chirp as well, Aaron Gaynor from Ecoplumbers. Thank you for being here, Aaron. Excited to have you.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. I guess it's easy to be the first guest to be the most important guest, but I'll take it.
We weren't going to.
Have I been on here before Tommy Mello or Chad or some other people? I'm gonna take this one as a win.
We weren't gonna say that. We were just gonna leave it up there as the most important guest, and then people could just guess. So,
but here's the thing, dude. I have plenty of people that I can reach out to get on the podcast, and have reached out to other people to get on the podcast. And because I know you a little bit, we've just gotten to know each other a little bit. We picked you, so
there's
something to that.
Today. No, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for you guys. Excited to be here. Love doing podcasts, sharing my story, and you guys have been growing Chirp and your own brand stories of what you've been doing. So I'm happy for you guys and your success. Justin, we got a chance to talk a little bit more and got to see you just last week. I know you're a little banged up there. You're still getting around and with good spirits, as always.
I'm getting around, yeah.
So thanks for having me, guys. Barefoot.
Yeah. So thanks for having me. Looking forward to being first guest, and hopefully we can get into some content that's meaningful for everybody.
Well, to dive in, so we are just so everybody kind of gets a format of what we're doing here. The idea behind and Justin and I spend a lot of time in the office, and we call each other when we have ideas late at night. But one of the big things, and the thing that we think is the most important in business, is mindset, and is having the right mindset around business. And so we're taking a different tack than most of these other podcasts out there. We're not going to go too much into strategy or specific logistical things that you do in your business to grow your business. We want to get deep into what causes you, what part of your mind and your mindset is helping you grow your business from more of a deeper internal perspective. So that's kind of the format we're going to follow. But the first thing we want to ask you, Aaron, just tell us about just who you are as a person, where your background, where you came from, your family. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So, first off, I agree that there's a lot of mindset stuff, and a lot of people want tactics and strategies. And part of that is having a mindset and a mindset to build yourself, reinvent yourself, and a positive, reinforcement to yourself, right? Personal growth and professional growth. So I look forward to talking about some of those. Had a couple of podcasts I've done recently where they've been a little bit more in that direction. So I'm a plumber by trade. And most of anybody's in the trades knows this for the most part, listened to me before, but I'll start from the beginning and give a little background on that. I am a plumber by trade. I started in the trades in 1997 out of high school. I was loading semi-trucks, second shift, my senior year of high school. My buddies, his brother-in-law worked for Ferguson Enterprises, and he said, hey, I know somebody wants to get some young guys into the trade, into plumbing. And I was like, well, I don't really know anything about plumbing. I don't really know what plumbers even really did, right? Here I am loading semi-trucks. And it was a first shift job. I was making about it was about $7.50. I was making about $14 or so at Value City loading semi trucks. But I took the job anyways. It was Monday through Friday, first shift. Actually ended up being 6 days a week after it was 5, but that's how plumbing contractors work. And then I never left. I enjoyed the work. I loved doing it. I ended up getting my license, my state master's plumber's license, as they used to call it then, which I think is a lot cooler than just licensed contractor. And then I started a business with my buddy, John, who also joined the trades at the same time. And new construction around that housing boom, right? When everybody was building houses, everybody thought we were never going to stop building houses. And so we started that business. We grew it to about $3.5 million. And then we lost that business. 2006, we started to see the decline in the housing market. We had all of our eggs were really in new construction residential building. So as some of the builders started to lose contracts, we lost contracts. Majority of our business was with a company called Syntex Homes. Which was one of the bigger builders in the country, but they decided to pull out of our market. And then from there, it just started unfolding, right? As the market started to collapse down, I ended up losing that business. Going into 2007, total bankruptcy. I lost everything. I lost everything. I lost people's jobs. I lost the business, lost my house, I lost my car. I ended up on check systems. People know what check systems are, but check systems basically means they won't give you a bank account because you owe money.
Right.
So I ended up on check systems, and back at my mom's house at the age of 28 years old, sleeping on her couch in her 2-bedroom apartment, a single dad with a 3-year-old son. And that's when this journey started. And that's, you talk about mindset. This is when mindset had to switch into a whole nother level. Realizing that, your whole entire life has been pretty much wiped away from you in a bankruptcy, down to you have nothing and you feel like a complete loser in this world. And you have a son, 3-year-old son, that's depending on you to make things happen. And you're not doing, you thought you were doing something a year before, and now you have nothing. And you're sleeping on the couch at your mom's house at 28 years old. And I remember holding him up in his Spider-Man pajamas. And I looked at him that night, one of the nights there at night, and I just said, I promise you this ain't gonna be your life, man. I'm gonna figure it out. We're gonna this ain't the life.
Man, this just got real quick. I think a lot of people look at Aaron Gaynor and Ecoplumbers, and it's like, man, those guys are just smashing it. You know what I mean? They're just killing it, and they don't realize the backstory to all of this. So that's really interesting. I'm a big believer that some of our biggest wins come from our biggest losses, because those are oftentimes the things that teach us the biggest lessons. So
for sure.
When you were go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead. I was just gonna say when you were down and out like that, because you talked about a lot of stuff. You were feeling like shit. You have a 3-year-old kid. You just went bankrupt. You're on the check system. I mean, it doesn't get a lot lower than that. What helped you stay in there, and not just like use it as an excuse to blow up your life, or like a lot of people would?
Well, I think I was probably pretty fortunate that my son was a piece of it, right? You saw, I told him I committed something to him, and I think having a commitment to something to get moving was it. And I've always been pretty optimistic too as a person, just in general. I grew up not with a lot, pretty low income in general. My mom worked multiple jobs. I worked since I was 15 years old, helped her pay bills. I have my original Carhartts on the wall here from 1997 in a frame, but I also keep a food stamp, and they're technically called a food coupon, but I keep a food stamp up here to remind me when I was a kid. I went to the grocery store and old food stamp books, and went to the grocery store with a food stamp to get food. Not that all of our thing was on that. We used to get the old Wick block cheese delivered and stuff, and so I knew what low looked like at some capacity, right? And it wasn't like everything wasn't good when I was a kid, but those are challenging times. You remember those, and you're able to bounce back and do something. So I think I had the ability to do it. I already knew what poor looked like and broke looked like, and I didn't want any more of that. That's for sure. And now here I am, broke. And so I think it was just more of the will to do something in life, and really knew that there was more for me internally. I didn't know what it was. I wasn't sure how I'd get there, but I just kind of knew, and I just got to work.
It's so important. It's so important to share these stories. I think that we get these stories out into the trades because everybody, like, we need to show everybody that there are no excuses, one, and two, wherever you're at, listening to this podcast right now, wherever you're at, the guys you see out there that are crushing it have been there before. They've been in the situation where their back's against the wall. They have to figure it out. They have a newborn. They have whatever it is, whatever situation you're in. There's nobody out there that isn't crushing it that hasn't been there. I remember, Aaron, when I was getting started, when my first son was born, my mom gave us a gift card for Christmas, like a Visa gift card. You could use it for whatever because she didn't know what we wanted for Christmas, so she just gave us a $50 gift card. And she's like, get yourself something nice, for whatever you want. I used that to pay our electric bill. I used that $50 gift card that I got for Christmas to pay our electric bill. And it's those kind of stories. I love that you have the thing on your wall to remind you. It's like, that's the key. It's the key to business. I always tell people, it's like, business is 90% confidence and 10% confidence, right? And so if you can if you're in a situation, if you're in any kind of situation, you find yourself like Aaron was, there's hope. There's no reason to think that you can't pull your way out. So I love hearing that story. Can you talk to a little bit about the mindset around like it's easy in this world to think like, oh, I'm not educated. They call it like imposter syndrome, right? Where it's like, I don't deserve.
Be very clear at that. I can tell you a story. I was like, I grew up dyslexic. You can't, and you still are dyslexic. You can never become dyslexic, right? You can learn how to cope with it, this stuff. So I had a lot of challenges with that area, feeling, not valued. I had ADHD. Got in a lot of trouble. I was a punk when I was a kid, by the way. So just super punk, like lots of punk stuff, lots of kid stuff. Avoided things, didn't realize it, didn't let some of that kind of hold me back in some areas. And even as I went bankrupt and tried to restart and did stuff, I still was something I was fighting with. A lot of people didn't know I was that I was dyslexic or had other disabilities in that area. And then finally, I just had to kind of come to truth with myself and say, my goals are bigger than my fears, and I'm just gonna have to get out there and start doing it. Even my buddy John that I grew up with. And I told him, he's like, what? He's like, I've known you my whole life. I was like, you just find ways to kind of get around certain things, right? And I do think that some of the dyslexia and finding ways to work through situations and do stuff helped me ultimately in the long run with some areas. But once I kind of opened up and said, you know what, I do have this area that is a challenge for me. And I do have a lot of things that obviously I failed out of business that I didn't know and I needed to know. And I think the strongest point to that was I just took full responsibility for the situation. I didn't blame the market, because the housing market, it definitely happened and it had an impact. But the real thing was I didn't really understand business. I was a tradesperson that started a business in construction, and I just did a lot of work, and we billed for the work, right? So we did. I didn't really understand marketing and sales. I didn't understand leadership. I didn't really understand real financial statements and P&Ls to a level. I didn't really understand a balance sheet and cash flows. I didn't understand all that stuff, so I had to go and learn that stuff. So I just started plugging in and really spending time personally developing and learning. And during that time, audiobooks, I'm very fortunate, audiobooks started to become more popular. So I was able to find some audiobooks. Podcasts weren't really big yet, but you can find a lot on YouTube. So I listened to a lot of YouTube videos, motivational ones, or how to do things. I spent a lot of time listening to Les Brown back in the day. Les Brown too, Tony Robbins. Motivational speakers too, right? So I think to your point, there's like all of those things are available, and there's knowledge available, do stuff, and I just went out and just tried to find it, and then for some reason things just started stumbling their way towards me. As you start moving forward, more comes your way, as the Matthew principle. And I found the book Think and Grow Rich, and really Think and Grow Rich was the book that changed my life forever.
100%. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Every other book based on it comes from that book. Every other self-development book written since then pretty much comes from that book, in my opinion. I want to touch on something really interesting that you just said, though, because me and Ryan have been talking about this a lot. So you mentioned that you had, dyslexia, but you actually started to realize at one point that same, what some people would call mental disorder was actually a benefit. And the reason I bring that up is because I look at almost every high performer out there, and I think they all have something going on mentally. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge mental health advocate, but I think a lot of times we look down on those things when those things are actually superpowers. It's like, man, I have ADHD. And a lot of people be like, oh no. Well, when I hear someone say they have ADHD, I'm like, damn, you have ADHD? That's a freaking gift. You can actually turn that around to be like super beneficial in your life. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that I think everything has a superpower depending on how you want to evaluate it, right? To your point there. And I think, I guess society tries to say, hey, this is how everybody should kind of be. And if you don't have like the mass thing, then you're kind of an outsider. And I think, there's times have changed probably with that a little bit. I don't know today, but I do think that, I think there is. I mean, I think there's a lot of positives with ADHD and there's also negatives, and there's positives with not having ADHD and negatives. Yep. Dyslexia, back and forth, right? And I think what I end up finding out is like, I just need to be able to tap into the things that I do have and accelerate those and realize the things I don't have and, accept that as part of life. And, this is how, I guess, God created me, and these are the skills he gave me and the skills he didn't give me, if you're a believer in that. And I think, at some point, once I came to the reality of that and conclusion to that, I like everything changed. And as I also opened up into Think and Grow Rich and read that book, I've read it 8 times. Front to back, and listen to it and listen to it and observe it and look at it. I actually have it sitting right here on my back here, still right here behind me.
Success and I just went to work clues, on that. Everybody, success leaves clues.
It 100% does. And what I did though, I think, is I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anybody to look up to really growing up. I didn't have a lot of people around. I don't say that guy's leading me the right way or whatever. I had some people, I'm not saying I was always on an island. But I think as I started reading and listening to stuff, that was the closest way to get to these great minds and these people. And I was like, I don't know any better. Like, I didn't know any better. Like, what would be a better model? So to me, Think and Grow Rich was the only model that I had. And I was like, at this point, I don't have a better plan. I'm just going to do exactly what this book says. And that's all I did. I literally just said, I'm going to do it exactly. Auto-suggestion. I'm going to write out my definition of purpose. I'm going to pick a number and a goal. I'm going to do all the things it says. I'm just going to do it. What do I have to lose? And I just did that. And as it went along, things started to find their way towards me because I was looking for them also, right?
That's super profound, because I think a lot of us will read things and go, oh yeah, that one part doesn't quite apply to my business, or this doesn't apply to me, but and we'll second guess or question things that successful people are showing us, like, hey, I did this thing, you should do it too. And we easily can, like, writing something as simple as writing down a goal, where you go, well, I've said it in my head, that's good enough, that's the same as writing it down, right? And you go, no, he said write it down. And it's not a matter of, and this goes deep into like what I believe in, like God and things where Jesus is teaching things in the Bible and all these things where people just go, well, yeah, it's good to this. It's just, we don't need to always understand why. We don't need to always understand the science behind certain things. We need to look to the people that we respect and have gone before us and been successful. And when they say do something, don't question it. Don't second guess it. Follow it. And I really like that you said that, because it's like, how many people have actually read it and said, I'm going to just do what it says. I'm just going to have that blind faith and just do what it says, and then the outcome will happen. Whatever happens, happens. That's, I think, super important for mindset when you look at things. We talk about Tommy Mello a lot. We see him posting stuff, and people will argue, and you kind of go, are you arguing with somebody that's doing hundreds of millions of dollars, you're going to argue? Like, that's your stance?
Well, I think that's what happens. I mean, and that's, you want to talk about people that have an ego problem. Like, it's like they think they're smarter than the process that already has created success for other people, but they haven't actually created any success. And I just, and I think when I looked at it and did that, I was like, well, I don't know any better. And this looks like there's a collection of smart people in this book. Whether or not it's real or not, I have no clue because I have no connection to any of the people. I know a lot of these names in this book, right? But I was like, I'm just going to do it. And that's what I did. And so to your point there is like, people like to tinker with stuff too much. Just, they get something and then they want to do it a little bit different their way, a little bit different this way, instead of just doing the thing.
Okay.
All right, we had a little bit of an outage there on the internet, but we're back online. We were right in the middle of something super deep. So, Aaron, do you remember right where we were? I think we were right talking about Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, we were getting into the idea that people, I think we can hopefully piece this together right there. But is that people want to tinker with stuff, right? They just don't do what's given to them. They think that they know better, and it's like, but you haven't done anything yet to know better, right? So to me, it's like, Think and Grow Rich. Of course, I know the names in the book. For the most part, every person in the book they talk about are pretty much legendary people. At the same time, I don't know if any of it was true. I don't know these people directly, right? Anyway, I'm taking this word for this, just kind of like, I'll use an example nowhere near as extreme, but you brought up, reading the Bible per se, right? Like, I don't know. None of us know for a fact nobody knows the people exactly, right? Directly. Right. There is some faith in things, right? And belief in things. And then people want to overanalyze stuff sometimes, like it does, but it doesn't need to be. So I'll use the two examples. Was talking to somebody about this actually earlier today too. Is that one is, all right, so Think and Grow Rich. I didn't really know any better, so I just did it, right? And I just followed the process. I did all the things said, auto suggestion. I still do auto suggestions till today, this morning, right?
Yeah.
So, and I wrote my definition of purpose. I picked my goal. I did all the things that are in Think and Grow Rich, followed it. And so started seeing success. Same thing. I joined Nexstar. I joined Nexstar, got a business coach, Jim Hamilton, one of the legendary coaches for Nexstar and business people throughout our industry years and years ago. And he would say, this is what you should do. You know what I do? I just go do that. When I see a lot of people, they tell them to do stuff and then they go, well, we kind of want to do it this way. And we kind of want to do it that way. And we kind of want to do this. And it's like, you kind of want to do all the wrong things, I guess, because this guy is doing the stuff. And Jim used to always tell me, I was like, Jim, I hear people you get pissed off at people. And like, I've heard you curse people out before. Like, this is old school, right? This is even a long time, maybe not so much today, but Jim's old school. And I said, I don't know. I feel like we get along really well. And he just said, you know why? Because you actually do what I tell you to do and you just do it and then you have success. It's like, he said, so I get more frustrated because I'm trying to tell somebody how to do something the right way and then come back around a month later, years later, and they decided to put their own spin on it. And, we have done that at times too in our business. Don't get me wrong. As we scale, more people come in and more people want to have opinions on things. And you've seen it get fragmented because of that, because everybody thinks they know, right? And it's like, these are the things that are proven principles at work in life in general. And one of my favorite things to say for the longest time is like, until you prove that you can do it this way, you haven't proven that you can change it.
Oh, dude, it's so crazy because like you're saying these things that are like truth to the core. They're absolute truth. And what's so amazing about us in this time of the earth, we have way more access to minds. Okay, like you had to read. When you were starting us, like we had to read Think and Grow Rich. You go back 15, 20 years. We don't have anywhere near the access. No podcasts, no YouTube, none of this stuff. And there was very limited resources. People starting businesses right now are in the throes of entrepreneurship right now. They have access to literally everything they need to hear. Like what you just said is exactly what somebody needs to hear. You're listening to somebody who's built a 9-figure business and you're able to hear what he's saying to do. And it's like, there's no better time to be a business owner. Everything is there. All the information is there.
Here's my question though, because you brought it up a couple of times. Have how some people kind of want to like fight against everything and other people are just open to taking, criticism or constructive feedback. What's the difference between those two people? And if someone is the person that has a really hard taking feedback, how can they make that shift?
I think people that are hard taking feedback, they have their own ego, like an ego problem. I think egos are good in a sense because they can move you. When you are so defensive of any other information coming in, it's the dumbest ego you can have. Like it literally is just the dumbest ego you could ever have in this world, right? Is you think you know better again. And that's an ego. You think you know better than the people have already done it before you. Like I get that's the difference between blue ocean and red ocean. Most people are in the blue ocean, are in the red ocean game. How can you know how to do something better yet? You're not creating a brand new product. You're not creating something that's never existed in blue ocean world. Maybe then you have some right. I see this new thing that's never existed. Okay, that's what you're talking. We're talking about everyday business operational things and mindset that matter, right? This is difference here. So I think that's it. And I think some people really have a choice. They like to do it the hard way or the really hard way. And most people want to be knuckleheads, to be honest, and do it the really hard way, which is their way, right? And like instead of just doing it the hard way, because it's going to be hard anyways, right? So I think it's interesting because I've been through the journey myself. So I'm not sitting on the other side on some pedestal saying that I've never done. I did that. I went bankrupt. I lost everything. I thought I knew stuff. I thought I knew this. I thought I knew that. And then to come to reality is like, I just need to relearn everything. I need to think everything I think I know. I need to rethink what I know and be open-minded to taking that information and then just saying, this is something that obviously is standard over time. It's successful, whether it's Think and Grow Rich or my business coach or Next Star processes, and just saying, we're just going to do those because we don't need to think we're better than those things. And frankly, I told Jack Tester, who's on our team, was president and CEO of Next Star for the longest time, I said, I am actually an outcome of you guys putting together the best practice stuff and then delivering it and then somebody just doing it that you put work in to do. And that's it. That's what we did. We actually just had dinner like 2 weeks ago about this. And it's like, I'm the outcome of that. So if you just do the stuff that's given to you, whether Tommy Mello says it, Next Star, wherever, like they're proven successful things. And you think Tommy created something new, or me or any of us really created anything actually brand new? And I don't say that disrespectfully at all. We didn't. We found the practices that work and we did them. And all we're doing in this industry is retelling those same things. And if they just do them, they'll be successful.
It's like less about adding to what we know and it's more about taking away the bad things, the bad habits that we have, the bad mindsets that we have. All the answers are there. It's all simple stuff. There's nothing groundbreaking. Like you said, I want to clarify. You said blue ocean versus red ocean. When you say that, it's like, look, if you're a plumber, there's another plumber down the street, right? There's a million plumbers. So it's not like you're some groundbreaking. You don't have some crazy technology that only you as Ecoplumbers has. You're a plumber. You fix plumbing. And so you're in a red ocean. That's what he means by that. And it's like you don't have to come up with some crazy technology or some crazy new way of doing things. Just do what the big dogs, what these people have come out and proven work. Just do those things. And of course, you're going to have your own great ideas of how you can do things, but you start by doing the strategy, by following the rules, by following the game, and then you can have that ability to say, no, now I can do it different. Once you've actually done and accomplished something, now you can look at it and go, okay, this is how I could do it different, and you can start being more innovative.
Yeah. I think innovation is necessary. So I hope people don't take the spirit that I'm killing innovation in our space, because I'm not. I'm saying do the things, the fundamental things first before you try to innovate. Everybody wants to innovate before they've done shit. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like, that's the reality though. And I get that the world we live in a little bit today, but stop innovating and start doing, and then innovate and then do, right? And I think innovation is important in certain areas, but like your point there, my point with blue ocean and red ocean is like, we're not really in an innovative space. Most businesses are not in an innovative space. It's just, can you actually just do it 1% better than the competition? Can you just do it a little bit better? Just a little bit better. If you just do it just a little bit better, you're going to win, right? And the fundamentals of certain KPIs, certain gross margins, certain net profits are the fundamentals of running a sound business, right? Can you tweak your culture a certain way? Absolutely. Be innovative in your culture. How do you want to have your culture? How do you want to communicate with your team? All of that stuff. Even then, there's still fundamentals to culture, but be innovative how you want to celebrate with your team, how you want to do stuff. Cool. The foundation of how to actually be successful in your business and somewhat life are already pre-existing. They already pre-exist in this world, right? Like they've been here way before us and they'll be here way after us. And that's the things that we have to understand is like they just already exist. You just have to decide if you want to move into and allow that to flow through to you. You know, levels of, I guess I can go real deep here into levels of vibration if you want to.
We absolutely do.
You know what the highest level of vibration is?
Yeah, huh?
Do you know what the highest level, the highest frequency vibration that there is? Do you know what emotion that is?
Anger.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
So
anger moves.
Good time.
Right. Anger moves people more than anything else in this world. Pain and anger. Authenticity throws it in there.
On the high end. So they put over 100 people in a room where they can actually test the frequencies of emotions. And they thought that love was going to be the highest emotion, and authenticity actually vibrated 4,000 times stronger than the emotion of love, which I thought was super, super interesting.
People like authentic people. I mean, they gravitate to real life things, real things that have meaning to them, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think the point here is like, I guess we might be beating on this topic a little bit. It's just like, just do what is out in front of you that you've seen, whatever it is, pick something, right? It doesn't matter if it's Think and Grow Rich. It's, I don't know, whatever other book that people think are important to them, whether it's another, I don't know if you call them guru in the industry or another book or other things, or whether it's Nexstar or Freedom or whatever other one, like pick one and just do it. Just do it all the way through and then let it actually say that I did all the things they told me to do properly. Now make sure you pick something that works.
Has proven.
That people have had success with. But my point is like, just pick it and do it. What happens is they want to pick this piece and then they want to pick that piece and they want to pick this piece and pick that piece. And then they kind of want to make their own. It's like, but you don't have the right to pick your own yet because you haven't done anything. So even today, I haven't really tried to pick my own on stuff. I'm still just doing the fundamental things. I would not consider myself an innovator to anything, really. I mean, some innovation maybe to growing a home service, overcoming challenges, doing stuff, but they're not saying that I'm innovating a new home service model by any means or any other new products or anything like that. I look for what I think is the best and then I try to go to work on it.
This takes me back to, let me just real quick, Justin. So this takes me back to going into, we tend to sprinkle in, I tend to sprinkle in religion where I can, but I went on a mission for my church when I was 19. It's a two-year commitment. I went to the Philippines for 2 years, and it's extremely structured, and to a point where, I mean, they're telling you we wake up at a certain time, we make our beds by a certain time, we've had breakfast by a certain time, we've had scripture study by a certain time, we have a companion with us 24 hours a day. There's all these structures that come with it, and we called it like living the letter of the law. It was like follow everything that you did, that the rules say, follow these rules exactly, regardless. Don't question them, just follow the rules. Later, as you're there for 2 years, you start to learn what the purpose of these laws are, the reason. Why are we making our bed in the morning? Why are we doing these things that seem trivial, right? And then you start to live what we would call the spirit of the law, like what's the purpose of this law, and then we can understand it. But until you have actually done it, and you've gone through it and understand why, you can't make changes. You can't do things. And that's exactly what you're saying. Do what other people have done to be successful. Follow the letter of the law. And then once you've mastered that and understand these rules and the principles and the fundamentals, then you can start innovating. Then you can start understanding why were those things in place. And then you can start, freestyling and making changes based on what you understand at that point.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So
I think discipline obviously is important. You go to Atomic Habits, the book Atomic Habits. If you guys have read that too, is a great book. And that, but these all disciplines, they pile up. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say I had like a whole list of all these disciplines, but I had routines. I had things I would do every day. And the one discipline I think I always had was I just always showed up. If I need to be here at 5:30 in the morning, I was here at 5:30 in the morning. There was no questions, nothing to do it. They knew I was here. I was ready to go every day, no matter what. Ready to be here for the team every day. Not some days I come this day. Oh, Wednesday we have a meeting, then I don't have a meeting with the guys. Then we do have a meeting, then I don't. Blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody does all that all over the place, and they wonder why they're not getting anywhere because they're not actually structured on anything they're doing. Even this last year, I think that a lot of us some of us have been on a health kick. Like I wrote down a year ago, I was like, I want to be in the best shape I could be by the end of the age of 45, and I just turned 46 a couple weeks back. And so I've spent the last year 3 days a week at the gym, sometimes 4 if I wanted to go. If I missed it, I picked up the day and always found a way to do it. Always did it on the schedule, same time, same place, unless I was traveling, and then I'd pick up another one and do it. And it took a year. But in a year, I was able to build the strength I wanted, did it, and I was able to bench 315 pounds right before I turned 46 years old. But it was a year mission, exactly a year. It took me a year to get there, but I had to do it day in and day out for a year. And I still ran and did stuff. But to your point, like all these things build up over time, but people don't want to stay persistent long enough. Like my success has been 7 years of my business. We didn't even break $1 million. Annually, right? So, and then the last 10, we've gone pretty quick. And even then it took a little bit, but it was like, it went from when we started getting the flywheel going, getting momentum, it went from 6 to 8 to 12 to 21 to 30 to 44 to 60, 61 or so to 75, right? It's like, but all of that had to build up before. And I think we don't want to do the journey.
That's $75 million that he just said. $75 million. And it took 7 years of scrappy, doing the work, making it happen without the return for 7 years. You didn't see it. And it's like, but you stayed the course and you followed the steps. And then
for sure, I did it because I was a believer in it. Yeah, believer in it. And I think I truly do believe this in many ways. Like, look, I'm not saying you can't build success quickly, and people do have success quickly, because there are a lot of stories of that. The majority of success is never built successfully, right? And I had to step back for a little bit and get over the idea of like, you look at, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, and all of a sudden this guy's got this tech company and that tech company. And we kind of look at tech companies. I know you guys have tech companies. So, but they have some type of, sometimes the success seems to kind of explode in front of us. But the reality is like, most fundamental operating businesses take decades of time to really build into something that's valuable. But I do also truly, when I go back to this to a point, is like, I also do believe the universe is going to test you to a point to see, do you really want this? Are you really willing to do what it actually takes to get this thing? And there's plenty of times I thought about, like, of course, I'm not saying every day I woke up like, I've got it. Everything's going to be great every day. Of course, I'm a human. We're all humans, right? But the idea was like, I just kept grinding. There's times it's like, God, what am I doing here? But all right, I'm going to stay the course. I go back and reflect on what I told myself in my auto suggestions. Each day I go back to my definition of purpose. I'd reflect on that when I got off track and then get back going again. And I think that's it. The universe just tests the hell out of you, man. And you have to be able to overcome that stuff.
That's so key, because you say that when people listening, that's like when you talk about the universe or God, whatever it is to you, whatever higher power it is to you, it's so Aaron said some people are successful faster. All we have to do is go, they were responding to the universe, and they were becoming worthy of that faster. Some of us, it takes longer. It took us 6 years to get chirped to where it was actually profitable and a really good business. And some people do it in 6 months. But it has nothing to do with the idea. It has nothing to do with your business. It has everything to do with whether or not you're ready for that level of success.
Great. My journey was what it was. This is what it took to get here. It took a bankruptcy. It took this many years. It took that. It took all these things. Until I was ready to be able to do the things I can do today and beyond. There's still another chapter that I'm not ready for yet, or else I'd have it. right?
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
so like, and I got work to do on that. I have to reinvent myself to operate another level of a business at a different thing. So I think that people don't realize that they think they get to one thing. They think that who they became there is everything they need to be everything again, but it's not. You're constantly in a journey of reinventing yourself over and over and over to operate. Operating this business today is completely different than it was 5 years ago. And if I want to operate this business in 3 years from now at the rate we're hopefully going, I'll have to be a completely different person again. That doesn't mean, I think the idea when you say that to some people is like, I'm not saying you erase who you are and the core of who you are. You have to be able to do things differently than you were before. And you need new skills and new ways to solve problems and do stuff. So you are a new person in a sense, right? Because you have to have these new skills. So it's a never ending journey for anybody. I mean, it doesn't just end until you, I guess, check out. And then from there, again, the Matthew principle, I think, is the idea there is that once you stop pursuing and you stand still, everything goes. So once you start standing still in any of your business where it is, you better check out, like cash out or move out or do something, because it will decline fast.
Yeah, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
If you're not growing.
So when you went 7 years and weren't able to break $1 million profit,
is there
$1 million revenue?
Revenue. Sorry, revenue.
Yeah, about 7 years.
Was there a drastic change you made, or do you just feel like there was so much momentum that you had built up during that 7 years that on your 8th year you were actually able to make that?
A couple of things. I'll answer it this way. A couple of things. One is I obviously spent a lot of time trying to learn and develop, do stuff. Another one is, again, I didn't have any credit, guys, right? I came out of bankruptcy. Bankruptcy standing credit for 7 years. So bankruptcy was on there. I obviously was able to start building some momentum there. I was trying to save cash, so I wasn't really investing a lot of things into like marketing and other stuff yet. I was trying to save as much cash because obviously I just had a bankruptcy. I'm paranoid. I need cash, right? Do stuff. And I knew that at some point I needed a decent amount of money to make the big push, right? So I wanted to hire the financial guy, which I ended up hiring Mike 10 years ago. So Mike obviously is a piece of that. Nexstar, as I mentioned, finding Service Titan, some of those things. And I say, like, we talked earlier about innovation and not as like, I wouldn't say innovating and saying, hey, I saw something that's out there similar like Chirp is today. Service Titan 10 years ago was like, I met Ara. He was my rep. I went and visited him. They were working in a small building, very small, right? And I was like, I want to use this software because it gives me the ability to be innovative in a sense in my space, but it isn't like innovative, right? If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I got services, or I got Service Titan, so we could be that. And then I went and really saw tankless water heaters. So I was like, we could sell tankless water heaters. Not a lot of people doing that. So I grabbed that and looked for WaterSense and offered that. So there was these things I just kind of found that were able to started to find their way. And then they just all kind of came together, I guess, right? Then I met Mike. From a financial standpoint, I'd been saving because I knew I wanted to have somebody on the team that was like in that type of role. And I'd saved 3 years. My goal was to save 3 years of their income before they started, so I could make sure that I was safe. Because again, I'm paranoid, right? So I'm like trying to make sure I do it. And then it just felt like at that moment, you talk about the sea kind of spreads open and it just like everything just kind of finally was like, you deserve it in a sense. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but I'll use that. It just kind of was like, here it is. And it was just like, and then it was like Service Titan, Nexstar, marketing plan, like that, all the things I've been working and trying to save and money and like, oh, I can pay for that now. Oh, let's do that. And then I put together a 3-year marketing plan and I was like, all right, fine. I'm just going to commit to it. I'm going to do it. We're going to put a 3-year TV billboard plan together. We're going to go and I'm going to just do it. And then it's just like, it just took off.
I saw you've kind of experienced that over the last little while, haven't you?
Oh yeah. I noticed that you're a little hesitant to use the word deserve because I hate the word deserve too. It's like I don't like to say I deserve something, but I thought about that recently. It's like I think I'm now becoming worthy of these things coming into my life.
That's a better word to use it. I mean, I think I deserved it because I worked hard, but also I'm worthy of it because I worked hard, not just like I'm entitled to it. I wasn't entitled to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. I was never entitled to it. So deserve sometimes feels entitlement to it.
Yep.
I don't feel entitled to it. So yeah, to your point there.
Yeah.
But I think you should be proud of your success. I don't think you should be scared of it to share
exactly.
and back off of it and feel shameful of it at all. I do not think that that should be all. But I do want to make sure too, is like I had a lot of, like, my sister helped me, Braun helped me, I had a lot of people help me, just like all of us. Like, you're never going to do this game by yourself either, right? So this isn't just the whole Aaron Gaynor show. Of course, I was in the lead on that, but I mean, I've had a lot of people help me in this business that are here today still, and people that have come and gone at different chapters. But I've had a lot of people help me, including, you know, friends that I've met in the industry, mentor. I had my business coach, Jack Tester, you know, meeting Tommy Mello years ago where he was too, and meeting him when he's living in his little apartment, you know, trying to grind his thing out and being inspired, having conversations with him late at night. Lots of other people, Chad Peterman, Chris Hoffman and the Hoffman brothers, what they've done, you know, Ishmael, all these guys. So, I mean, like, you get to meet a lot of people, and many other people I could talk on here that you probably wouldn't even know that have built great businesses. Dave Geiger was always nice to me. This guy, I can't tell you, he always so nice to me when I was just a plumber, because he's a plumber, right? So I met him. I remember going to my first Nextar event, and he's like, I'm going to build this, in my head, I'm already building this $100 million business, right? And he's like, and he comes on there, and they have this thing up there and this thing, and I think he goes, we're going to build a $250 million business. I was like, but they already had a nice business going. And then I got a chance to meet him. I was like, guy, look at that. And I got to talk to him. I went and talked to him, right? And I got introduced through his son-in-law, but super nice guy. And I was like, you know what? This is what I want to be like. This guy's so friendly and nice to everybody. Spends his time sharing his stories, sharing stuff when you talk to him. I don't know if you guys have ever met Dave, probably. Yeah, but, you know, and he's a plumber that's built. He was probably one of the leaders in this space. So I think it's been a lot of people that I've been able to interact with, but also, again, I put myself out there to do that at times when I used to never want to do that. And that has paid dividends.
This is just awesome. I want to shift gears just slightly. Now, you mentioned just a little bit ago about that you've recently, and a lot of us have. I started recently. Justin started even more recently. Tommy's been kind of leading it a little bit. We've all kind of started on this health journey, and I want to talk to mindset around that, because, you know, somebody could look at any of us that are having success, and get a wrong picture of, you know, where we're trying to be. You know, some people, they look at success as fat, dumb, and happy. If you've ever heard that term before, where it's like, oh, once I get a certain amount of money, I'm just going to sit on the beach the rest of my life. I'm going to be done. I'm never going to work another day in my life, right? And that's like this flawed view of what people who are trying to be successful are doing. When you were at 1 million, you probably would have thought, man, when I hit 75 million, I've made it. I'm done. I made it. That's awesome. And now that you're there, you're going, shoot, 75 million. I'm going for 750 million next. It's like there's no, and it's not a matter of I just want more money. I want more money. It's that we always want to progress. And so we look at some, you know, it's like I could look at somebody like you, Aaron, and go, man, this guy's balling so hard. He could do whatever he wants. He could have whatever car he wants. He can have whatever house he wants. But you're still out there. Your discipline is such that you're still going, nope, I'm going to get healthy. I need to focus internally so I can become even better, so I can be worthy of more. Tell us about that mindset shift in your health, because I think health has a big part of how we approach life and how we, you know, make decisions.
Yeah, I think for me, I've always been pretty consistent. I've been a runner. I started picking up running in my early 30s. Obviously, I work construction, so I was always out doing stuff. I've always been somewhat like steady. I've never been like overweight or really like totally out of shape. So I've been consistent in my life in that area. But I wouldn't say that I invested like a ton of like, hey, I'm going to go all out on this thing and really get for it. I think it was, again, challenges. I think we need challenges. The challenge to advance ourselves, challenge to improve, push ourselves mentally. Like for me, a lot of times I went from running, like I remember the first time I ran, I was like, I'm going to sign up and run a half marathon. I never ran before, right? I was going to run. I went out and ran the first mile. I thought I was going to die. First mile, I couldn't even breathe. And I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. So So I went and ran a half mile. Then I went and ran. Then I finally, then I ran that. Then I get a half marathon. Then I ran a full. So these are mental challenges, right? And then from there, expanded on running. So I think it's just pushing yourself, just because if you're not pushing yourself physically and mentally, really hard to push yourself at your business. So I think that's important. I think but also at the same time, you want to rewind this back quickly is like to the idea is like our physical health has so much impact on how we can show up and do stuff. And I've always believed that even in my own like cardio and other stuff. I just maybe never took it to the level I have today. And I'll be candid. I mean, I have a little more time to be able to do that probably than when I was just out turning the wrenches all day. But I still found time to run during that time. I still found time to take care of my health. Still found time to make sure I ate somewhat balanced, right? I didn't have to eat Wendy's and McDonald's every night, right? So those are things I think that were naturally just things that I did value. And I think you have to really value your body. It's your temple, right? And I think sometimes we don't. We value these external things more than the internal things. And, these are the things, sometimes it's really weird. I remember I used to listen to Earl Nightingale. You guys know who Earl Nightingale is? Old school.
Yep.
And he said, he said, I remember saying this now, you guys talk about it. This does come to me sometimes. He goes, we don't value the things that were given to us for free as much as we value the things that we had earned, right? And the sense of that, right? And it's like, we were given our body, we were given our minds, we were given our health for free, right? But we'll value this car or this other thing that we have and take care of it more than we will take care of our own body and mind. And there's so much truth to that. And I have fell victim to that in my life early on, thinking that those were all the things that really mattered, when the reality is like, take care of my mind and take care of my body are the primary sets. And then from there, start working from that. Now, I've always balanced that, but I would say I haven't done the physical, like gym workout as much as I have recently. And some of it's fun to have with the challenge with like Tommy.
Yeah.
And, other guys that are doing it, seeing the outcome and talking to people. And I just think it's great to have a network of people that are pushing you that way. So I don't know if I've answered your question. I hit a lot of stuff maybe in there, but hopefully I did.
No, that's great.
I was going to bring that up. So I'm going to challenge Ryan a little bit. I've been on a health kick for about 5 years. It hasn't just happened recently. I just quit sugar. I just quit sugar.
Yes.
So,
okay.
And I'll be honest. I'll tell you why I did it. I was sitting at Tommy's house with Ryan, Tommy, and Bray, and they're sitting drinking water while I'm popping sodas and Red Bulls.
Oh, yeah.
And they're drinking, they're eating salad while I'm eating chocolate chip cookies. And it made me feel like shit, dude. I was like, man, because I have come a long ways in my health journey, like a really long ways over the last 5 years. But like you said, like I'm always wanting to better myself. And so being surrounded by them for a weekend, I was like, all right, man, it's time to like take that next step to better myself. So 4 days without sugar today. I'm still drinking some energy drinks and stuff, but just non-sugar.
Yeah, good.
I should clarify. Justin has a 6-pack, so he has way more than he can say about than I can say. He's been doing this a long time. I should have clarified that it's been a recent. He's taking another step in his health journey to take it even further. And he could make the excuse all day long that he could have sugar. He doesn't have to quit sugar. He has a 6-pack. Why? Like that's like the sign of like ultimate health, right? Is that you have this chiseled 6-pack, and it's like he could easily make the excuse, I don't need to quit sugar. I'm good. And it's like he still wants to challenge himself, because it's not necessarily the outcome that he'll get from it. It's the challenge of overcoming something that makes you a stronger person, that lets you become more worthy of business success and various successes in your life.
If you can't control your own personal decision making to not eat something or drink a soda, like I haven't drank a soda in probably 15 years. I quit drinking soda. And I haven't drank it since, right? I don't drink soda. I just don't drink soda. This is what I do. And I made that decision. I don't do it, right? And I just don't do it. Now, I have sugar. Don't get me wrong. I like some chocolate chip cookies. So, but to your point, though, is like, it's like if you can't make that decision to hold yourself accountable, you're not going to get anything else done. Exactly. So these are all challenges. All of these things are just challenges to push yourself to make you better. Not doing sugar. Of course, you don't need to, right? You're obviously in shape. You're doing stuff. But again, it's like, can I? Could I? Could I run a half marathon? Exactly. Could I run a full marathon? Yep. Could I bench 315 pounds if I did the work? Could I? Could I do that? And the answer is yes, you can if you do the work.
Yep.
And it helps so much to have a group. a group that can hold you accountable, man. Like, I think it's so important to be surrounded by the right people because it just makes it that much.
I think we all know that the old concept is, what is it? The 5 people you're around, the average of them. So, and the idea too is like, you want to have people that push you in life, and that's where you should be. That's where you should really be looking for. And I think I've talked about that in some of the conference we've been out and did stuff. It's like, look around, everybody's in here trying to get better. They're here for a reason. Pick a couple of people, make friends with them, and start pushing each other. And if one person doesn't want to be it, then find somebody else, and just keep building your network, because the reality is you can build your own network. I don't think people are like, well, I've had people come up to us, and I don't sound the wrong way. It's like, well, my goal is to be in your guys' group. It's like, that's great. I'm inspired to have you there. But you could have your own group, and you could build a group of people that are successful and do that together. Do you think all of us knew each other? And so we're spread out from all over the country. We found each other at networks and other areas as we're growing and do stuff, and we connected and we built a group, right? And that's just kind of a group, a network that we stay in touch. And then we text pretty much, for the most part, every day. There's something going on in our group text with that, and some other friends that I have that are not just these guys that people know in the industry too. But I think it's so important. You got to find a network of people and have a relationship with them and challenge each other and have fun with it. Whether, just not guys and women, female, I use guys as a general sense, anybody. I mean, I talked to Amanda Zink the other day, and she was on the phone. We talked for a while about stuff she's doing in home service and some of her challenges. And it's like, we're all up against the same stuff, men, women, it doesn't matter. We're all up against the same challenges as people trying to get ahead that want to make our lives better for our families, for the people around us, and our business, right? Find a network and network with those people.
Yeah. So, okay, Aaron, we've talked about business. We've talked about health. This is where we just, round things out. Justin and I have found a lot of common ground. Although we were raised in the same church, we have similar backgrounds, but we've gone very separate, different ways. But we find a lot. We find a lot of overlap, and we have very deep discussions, and we are very much aligned on on certain things. But we want to. Our goal is to to bring business success, bring health success, but also talk about the spiritual success, and how spirituality, or whether you call it spirituality or the universe or whatever it is. Do you believe in a higher power, and how do you believe that has affected you in your decision making?
Yeah. I do believe in a higher power, 100%. Yeah. I do. However you want to view it, I've gone through different evolutions of how I've seen God, per se, throughout my life, which has been good for me. I've been able to, read different views and different religions and just stuff. I mean, technically, I was born Catholic and Christian, right, is what I've done. I consider myself, I guess if you ask me, I consider myself a Christian in the sense. I do believe in higher power. I believe in infinite intelligence in a sense. Whether you want to call it God or not, but I do think things come to you and they're meant for you, and either you do something with it or you're not in life. I do think that there's times where you need that, and sometimes people are more more into going to maybe church or the groups in that area, or sometimes it's just your being, you're just spiritual being of believing is it. So I think you can take that many different ways, and regardless of what it is, I am, and I don't judge anybody that has any other opinion. If they don't want to, there's more spiritual or this or that. I think there's many ways to get to success that fulfill you as an individual and as a person in this world. That's the great thing about being able to, live in your own domain and make your decisions. But I do think that there's something that is out there, a North Star, that is has the opportunity to pull you. And if you decide to tap into whatever that North Star is for you, and you use that infinite intelligence, God, or whatever your belief system is, and you actually allow that to connect with you spiritually in some way, somehow, I think it helps you. I just genuinely do, because it's helped me, right? That's all I can speak to, is because it's helped me. I may not have helped this person or that person, but it's helped me. And some of that came through, I've been at church in my life. I've been through Bible study class when I was really young. So do that. But I think mine really came when I read Think and Grow Rich. I've always kind of had it, but Think and Grow Rich kind of creates it. And a lot of stuff I Think and Grow Rich does it. They use the broad sense of infinite intelligence, because they're not trying to push one thing on anything in that book. So they went to infinite intelligence, but the reality is the infinite intelligence is your spiritual or your God being that is giving you giving you this information. So I do believe it.
Beautiful. I love that. Like, there's no judgment. But the testimony or the, like, you're not going to come out and say, I know this, I know that. You know, it's I only know it because I've lived it and it produced results.
Yeah, and that's all I can speak to.
That's all it is. It's like, hey, I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen when we die. I can't tell you exactly what's right and what's wrong. I can't tell you all these things. I just know that when I follow these principles, I get an ROI. I get an outcome. I get a result, and it makes the promises that are there, that if I follow these things, I'm going to tap into a power that's going to produce results. And that's all we can say. And it's like, I'm not going to ever argue it. It's like, I'm there, I'm doing it, and it works. So I'm going to keep doing it.
I mean, I'm not going to judge somebody else for whatever their thing is.
Exactly.
Like, that's their thing, right? It's like, so, and I think good conversation on that has helped me. I've had friends in I grew up in a pretty somewhat area where there's different diversity of religions and all over the place. So I've had a chance to meet many people of different religions, and even today at our work environment, I have many different people with different religious backgrounds. And I actually think it's been very beneficial. I had a good friend that's Jehovah's Witness. I have Tom, I don't know, spot, Mormon friends. I have Muslim friends.
I'm there with Tom. I'm there with Tom, Aaron.
So, and then, and many other Jewish friends. I've old Jewish guy that I've worked that was with I'm going to lunch with on Friday. That's been helped me out throughout life. I mean, everything. So it's like, I don't judge any, because all of them matter and they all help each other move forward. And perspective 100%. On life is so important on all of them. And I know we get in a world of little sticky conversation in this area in today's world. So that's why, but at the same time, like, I'm grateful for the things and the experience I've had, and every person I've met that on Walk of Life has helped me in some way and has given me perspective in some angle, and I feel blessed for that no matter what.
The cool thing is it's all the same source, man. It's all the same source. Me and Ryan work together on a daily basis. He has, he takes a little more religious viewpoint than I do, but I take a more spiritual viewpoint. But we create vision boards together. We talk together. We strategize together. I call it the universe. He calls it God. But what we're able to do together is undeniable. And we both know that at the end of the day, whatever either of us wants to call it, we're tapping into the same source. And it's been pretty awesome to work so closely with someone that, even though they might have some different beliefs, at the end of the day, we believe in the same
Jesus
power.
said it right. By their fruits, you'll know them. So it's like, hey, if it's fruitful, if there's positive, if it's causing things to happen, then it's good. And so I can't deny it. So, well, this has just been super awesome, Aaron. We can't, express our appreciation enough for you coming on. We know you're super busy. But I know that these kind of stories getting out to people, especially when we can drill down to those times where, like, when you're sitting with your son, that's such a huge, it's so deep, and it's so important that people hear those. We don't want people to think that, that anything is impossible, or that they need $1 million to start, or that they need, a certain level of education. You need drive, you need faith, you need determination, and you can make it happen. So, thank you so much, Aaron, for being here. Is there anything else you want to leave the audience with before we bail out?
No, I'll say thank you guys. Really excited for you guys' podcast, what you guys have been doing with Chirp. We've been using that. Not that this is a pitch on Chirp, I get it, but happy for what you guys have been able to accomplish and do. So you guys should be really proud about your achievements. And I think it's great to, have conversation about, the real deep stories of what are going on through your model, to share it in a different way. And, some of these stories come out in other podcasts and other stuff, but I like where you're going with that. And, look forward to supporting you guys and anybody in home service anywhere, actually. So thank you guys for having me on here. Really appreciate you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talk to you guys. Have a good day. We'll see you.
Okay.
See you guys.
Bye.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Win Your Mind, Win Your Market podcast. If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, be sure to leave us a thumbs up
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on a podcast platform, be sure to leave us a review and check us out on the next episode. Until then, win your mind, win your market.